The courtroom had been moving with quiet routine. Papers shuffled. A pen tapped softly. Someone cleared their throat. Then it stopped. Not loudly. Not dramatically. Just stopped. A shift in the air. A tension no one could explain, yet everyone felt. Because suddenly, a man stood.
Not just any man.
A sharply dressed state senator rose from his seat without invitation, his chair sliding back with a sound that cut through the room like a blade. Heads turned instantly. Court staff paused mid-motion. Even the gallery straightened. This wasn't how court worked. This wasn't protocol. Yet there he was, standing tall, shoulders squared, presence commanding, as though the room should adjust to him, not the other way around. His posture carried confidence. Not nervousness. Not hesitation. Control. And he began to speak. No permission requested. No recognition given. Just interruption. A bold insertion into a space governed by order. Across the room, the judge did not react. No raised brow. No sudden movement. No visible annoyance. Only stillness. Seated behind the bench, watching.
Calm.
Measured. Unmoved. As if waiting. As if allowing something to reveal itself. The senator continued, leaning slightly forward, the tone implied through gesture alone. A subtle assertion. An attempt to reshape the moment. To bend it. To claim it. The room felt it immediately. This wasn't just a comment. This wasn't just impatience. Something unexpected had just entered the courtroom. And everyone knew. The next few seconds would decide who truly held power. At first, it seemed like he might stop. Like the sudden interruption had simply been a misstep, a moment of impatience that would correct itself. But he didn't sit down. Instead, the senator leaned forward slightly. His hands moved with purpose. Measured. Assertive. Not wild, controlled. The kind of gestures used by someone accustomed to being listened to being obeyed, to shaping outcomes simply by speaking. His movements carried an unspoken message. This room should bend. Not him. A court clerk paused mid-note. Another adjusted papers that didn't need adjusting. A quiet glance passed between two staff members, subtle, but heavy with discomfort. In the gallery, someone shifted. Then another. The stillness that once defined the room was beginning to fracture. Not loudly, but undeniably. The senator's gestures grew more deliberate, his hand cutting lightly through the air as though outlining authority itself. As though reinforcing his presence. Claiming space. Claiming control. And perhaps, in his mind, he already had it. Because the judge had not interrupted. Had not spoken. Had not moved. Still seated. Hands folded. Eyes steady. Watching. Not resisting. Not reacting. Just allowing. And in that silence, the senator mistook patience for permission. The room felt it. The slow tilt of momentum. The subtle discomfort. The creeping question forming in every mind present. Was he taking over? Was this moment slipping? Was authority shifting? Because for a brief stretch of time, it truly seemed like he believed the courtroom now moved around him. And not the bench. Then, the judge moved. Not abruptly. Not with force. But with intention. A slow, deliberate lift of one hand. No words. No command spoken. Just a gesture. And somehow, it was enough. The room froze. The senator's hand stopped mid-motion, suspended in the air as though the moment itself had tightened around him. The quiet hum of shifting seats vanished. Even the subtle rustle of paper disappeared. It wasn't loud. It wasn't dramatic. But it was absolute. The judge's gaze remained steady, calm, unwavering, fixed not in challenge, but in quiet certainty. And in that instant, something changed. The atmosphere no longer leaned toward the senator. The weight in the room shifted, subtle, yet undeniable. Authority returned to where it had always belonged. Not through volume, not through confrontation, but through presence alone. The senator's posture adjusted, almost imperceptibly. The confidence that had filled his movements a moment ago met something it could not push through, could not override, could not command. Because now, The silence carried a different meaning. It was no longer allowance. It was boundary. And for the first time since he stood, he hesitated. The balance had changed. The silence hung heavy, tense, expectant. Then, without a word, court officers stepped forward. Measured, professional, yet unmistakably decisive. The senator's posture faltered for the first time. His shoulders slumped almost imperceptibly. His hands, which had been so confident moments ago, now hung awkwardly at his sides. He looked around the courtroom, and in their eyes, he saw it. The realization of what had just happened. The tide had turned. Power was no longer his. It had never been his. The judge remained seated.
Calm.
Firm. Unyielding. No outburst. No raised voice. No dramatic flourish. Just authority, the kind that needed no fanfare to command respect. As the officers guided the senator toward the exit, the courtroom watched in stunned silence. Murmurs died before they began. All eyes followed as he disappeared from view, the weight of consequence trailing in his wake. The gavel remained untouched. The room exhaled, slowly, collectively. Order restored. Accountability served. And in that quiet aftermath, everyone present understood a lesson written not in words, but in presence. No title, no status, no ambition, nothing was above the law. The courtroom was whole again. But the memory of that bold interruption and its swift undoing would linger in every mind long after the doors closed.